Alright, we are recording. Unfortunately, we could not get the stream going, so this is a recorded session. This is a Skype call with my friend
Sunny D.
Sunny D. Sorry,
Let's go.
Forgot to clarify what name you wanted to use before we started because I was so busy trying to figure out the stream. So we're going to be. He's actually had some experience playing Dungeons and Dragons a little bit. So we've got me doing a Skype call with him. I'll be the small screen, he's the big screen. So we're going to be doing 5th edition. He's going to be creating his first character, 5th edition wise?
Yeah, it'd be first.
Okay. So, sorry for the lack of stream, but here we go. Alright, Sunny, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So you've had experience with 3rd edition and 3.5.
I believe so.
So for the most part, it's actually very, very similar. You still have your 6 stats, your strength, your dex, your con, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. And then you have your saving throws, your skills. It's all been kind of condensed. They made it less number crunchy and more free flow. So what we'll do is part of the experience is rolling dice. So we will go ahead and roll the dice for the stats. In standardized play and tournament play, they'll use like a point buy system or a standard scale system of 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8. But by rolling dice, you give it variety. You give it more fun. You could end up with an overly powerful character or a really weak character. So we're going to take 4d6.
All right.
Where's
Got him.
All right. And I had to find a writing utensil. So, all right. So this is not going to be in order. You'll do the 6 times, and then we'll sort it out in terms of which one you want to assign to what.
Okay. That's fair.
Okay. So go ahead and roll 46. Drop the lowest.
Right. Okay. Tell me how loud this is.
For me, that's fine.
Said drop the lowest?
Yeah.
All right, I got 13.
13? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and 5 more times.
5 more times?
Yeah. Because there's 6 stats. There's 6 attributes. Or ability scores.
14.
Okay.
10. 13. There we go.
Uh-oh. I think I lost you. Okay. And we're back. You ready?
Yup.
Okay. So, after that little hiccup, I got 13, 14, 10, 13, and you messaged me 12?
Yeah.
Okay, so you still got 1 more to go.
Damn it.
I only got 5 from you, unless you did 6 and didn't tell me to fit one of them.
No. 12.
Okay. So nothing bad.
No.
And everything's pretty much above average. So it's not bad. So we've rolled your stats. So the next thing to do would be to choose your race. Do you have an idea of what race you want to be, or do you need help?
I need a list.
You need a list?
I need a list.
Okay. So the list goes You have dwarves, elves, humans, halflings, gnomes, dragonborn, tieflings, half-orcs, and half-elves.
Let's go simple. Just do human for this round.
Okay. So one of the things that they did for 5th edition was the sub-races. They actually gave you basically pick your race, and then it's subdivided. So the dwarves, the elves, the gnomes, the halflings, the dragonborn, they all have kind of a subdivision. With humans, they don't really have a subdivision, but they have something called human and variant human.
And what?
Human and variant human. Variant. It's the reason why it's called variant. It's using a variant rule.
Okay.
Okay. So if you just use the standard human, all your ability scores increase by 1.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it.
Ah.
If
What
you
about
want
the variant?
with a variant, pick 2 abilities. Those increase by 1. You get a skill of your choice. You're proficient in a skill of your choice, and you gain 1 feat of your choice. In 5th edition, like in 3rd edition, feats were like part of the game.
Right.
In 5th edition, feats was an optional thing. You didn't have to use them, but they were there.
Let's go variant.
Okay. So actually, before we even do any of that, we should really assign your stats, your ability scores.
Right. Yeah, we did that. That's a thing, and we don't want to
We
waste
rolled for them, but we forgot to assign them.
Who needs stats?
All right. So, do you see? So your character concept. Do you see something as like a physical person, a mental person, a charismatic, agile?
Charismatic. Yeah.
Okay. So you'd probably want to put your highest in charisma.
Sounds about right.
Okay. So we'll put the 14 in charisma. All right,
Okay.
you have 2 13s, 2 12s, and a 10. So we can kind of work backwards here a little bit. What strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Those are your 6 stats. Strength is self-explanatory. It's how strong you are, how well you can do in melee, how well you do in athletical stuff. Dexterity, your hand-eye coordination, your agility, your reaction speed. Constitution is your hardiness. Intelligence is your intelligence. Wisdom is your common sense. Charisma is your personality. The very common tomato rule. Strength is how well you can crush a tomato. Dexterity is how well you can dodge a tomato being thrown at you. Constitution is how well you can eat, how well you can resist being sick after eating a bad tomato. Intelligence is knowing that tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing that you don't put tomatoes in fruit salad.
But
and charisma is being able to sell a tomato-based fruit salad.
Which is just salsa.
Yes. Or if you mash it up into a liquidy paste, it's ketchup or a tomato fruit smoothie.
Should have had a VA.
Yeah. Okay. So, of all those traits, you said you want charisma as your highest, so you put the 14 in. What do you value the least?
We're gonna have fun with this. Intelligence.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. 10 is average.
Right.
So 10, 11 is average, and then anything below 10 is below average. Anything above 10 is above 11 is above average. And so your lowest stat is basically the average norm. So you basically have an intelligence, like if you took an IQ test, it'd be like 100.
Yep.
All right, so the others, you have 2 12s and 2 13s. Where do you want to put them?
Dexterity and strength will be 13, and then obviously
The rest.
12 for the last two. You can't really. I pick, one of them will be 12, and the other one will be 12.
Okay. You sure? You don't want it to be 12 and 12? Or do you want 12 and 12?
Can one be 5 plus 7, and the other be 12?
Yes.
Okay. I like that one.
Okay. So, now that we've assigned them, going back to human, you get 2 ability scores that get a +1 increase.
Okay.
The way it's just like in 3rd edition. Even numbers give you a boost in the ability score modifier. Odd scores do nothing. Seeing how you have 2 scores that are odd, bumping them up would give you 14s, and they would put them in the next level of ability score modifier.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
That thing you just said, do it. Yeah.
From a game mechanic standpoint, that would be the smart thing to do. But if you just want to do like whatever, you can make your.
I think I was gonna use those anyway.
Okay.
On strength and dexterity.
Okay. So that means you have your bonus skill and your bonus feat that you still need to do. All right. So like I said, they really reduced it in terms of skills. There's only There's only 18 skills now.
Oh, damn. So little to choose from.
So that's the skill list right there. That's it. It used to be like this whole long list. Now it's just that. Okay, I'll go over them though. I just kind of want to give you a rough idea.
I got you.
The best thing to do is not to pick your bonus skill yet, because your classes and your backgrounds give you skills. So there's no point picking a skill that your class already gives you.
I'm just going to have that skill already because of the background. Yeah.
So, what kind of... Okay, so you've got strength, dex, and charisma as your highest stats.
Yep.
Did you have a class in mind?
You went over them, and I believe Monk was one of them.
Okay. So to give you an idea, based on your stats, monks actually prefer wisdom and strength and dexterity. And charisma is kind of a dump stat. So you would have to switch out your wisdom and charisma. If you want to keep your charisma at 14, that's fine. Just understand that some of your monk abilities will not be as strong. With the way you have things arranged right now, with high strength, dexterity, and charisma, that actually leans very much towards, say, well, with the 14 strength and dexterity, you could be any of the melee classes.
Oh, okay.
So barbarian, fighter, ranger, or paladin. Or if you want to go by charisma, if you want to go into spell casting, you have bard, paladin, and warlock. Those all use charisma as their base for spellcasting abilities. These numbers are actually really, from my personal experience, 14 strength, 14 dex, 14 charisma, with the others at 10 and 12, you're looking at like a paladin or a warlock. Or even you can still even go fighter with this.
Barbarian? Let's go warlock.
You want to go warlock?
Go warlock.
Okay. So a warlock is a spell-based user. They can go into the melee if they specialize into it. They get their powers from someone. Like a wizard gets their magical powers from studying. Sorcerer is innate ability, while Warlock it's a gift from someone. Who that patron is, you get to decide. So.
Oh, cool. All right.
So just basically a brief description of Warlock, a wielder of magic that is derived from a bargain with an extraplanar entity.
That would make Scooby-Doo make sense.
Yeah. So let's just flip to Warlock. So, all right. You don't have a character sheet in front of you, do you?
No, I don't.
So, okay. So it makes it a little bit hard for you to follow, but I'll try to work through you as best I can.
Okay.
Just like in 3rd edition, you have the ability scores. They each have their own. Before in 3rd edition, they had fortitude, willpower, and reflex for your saving throws. This time around, they kind of divide it up. They make it much more ability score. A lot of it is around the ability score. So each ability score has their own saving throw. And it basically, the way it works is what's called proficiency bonus. And I'm going to be jumping around the rules, so if people who are watching, like, you're missing this rule, deal with it. If you already know the rules, why are you watching? So basically, 2 of your skills, there's always going to be something called proficiency bonus. That means those are the ones you're going to be most proficient in that give you a little bit higher bonus than the others.
Right.
For Warlock, it's going to be wisdom and charisma. And proficiency bonus basically is across the board. It's similar in scale to, I guess, base attack bonus from 3rd edition to a degree, where it scales as you get higher up, it increases. But the proficiency bonus is much more universal in that it applies to a lot of other things. Your spell DC, your spell attack, your melee attack, your ranged attack, your skill, any skill you're proficient in, basically anything you are proficient in, the proficiency bonus applies. Okay, and it's at level 1, it's +2.
Okay.
So your ability score modifiers are for strength 2, dex 2, con 1, intelligence 0, wisdom 1, and charisma 2. Because charisma and wisdom are your saving throw, you get the proficiency bonus to them. So whenever you have to do a wisdom saving throw, you get +3 instead of +1.
Right.
And charisma, you get +4 instead of +2. Wisdom is still akin to your will saving throws from 3rd edition. And dex and con for the same thing is similar. Like, they have their own things, but at the same time they don't. But it makes more sense if once you start playing it. And I know I'm not doing the greatest of job. I'm kind of being very cursory over it. But when you play, you get a feel for it. And if you had you don't have a book either, so you can't read.
Not yet.
And a character sheet would be helpful, but you don't have one.
Yeah, I was gonna try and snag one, but I didn't phrase the request right.
Do you have a printer?
Do I have a printer? Yes.
Okay, then you can go to
Does it have ink? No.
Okay, so I should have rephrased that. Do you have a working printer?
No.
Okay.
I have a phone with the ability to receive pictures and edit those pictures.
Well, I think there might be a PDF version
That
online.
could work. I could open up a docu.
Yeah. if you go to the D&D website, I think it's wizards.com/D&D, you might be able to get a character sheet. Let me see if I can't find it myself.
This makes much more sense now that I can actually see it.
Okay. So what I'm actually going to do all right. Does this help?
Yeah.
Okay, I just need to adjust something here.
What are you planning on doing here?
Just so basically I'm going to point to the screen and then you can just follow along.
Okay.
So 14 there, plus 2 there,
Oh,
14 there,
I'm an idiot.
plus 2 there.
I'm an idiot. I'm not smart. I am, yes. Wow. You don't want to know what I did.
I'm curious, but that's up to you whether you want to share or not. And like in hindsight, I probably should have done this from the get-go. Okay, so those are your ability scores. Your proficiency bonus at level 1 is going to be +2. So anything you're proficient in gets that +2 bonus. And in terms of saving throws, over here, you're proficient in charisma and wisdom. So we just basically transfer the ability score modifiers over to here. So it'll be +2 there, +2 there, +1, 0. And then here, because the wisdom is +1 here, but you're proficient in it, comes +3, charisma is +2, plus proficiency makes that +4.
I understand everything.
Okay. Your initiative is your dex mod, so that's +2. Almost every race is going to have a speed of 30, except dwarves, halflings, and gnomes, because they're a little bit shorter.
Screw those guys.
They're a little bit shorter, so their speeds are at 25. And wood elves actually have a speed of 35.
Good for them.
Okay.
Don't need speed. I got charisma.
Your current hit point maximum is going to be at level 1. 8, 1. Your first level, so you're 1d8. And so your hit point maximum is going to be 9.
Sweet.
Because it's your maximum. So it's a maximum of your die plus your con modifier. So it's 8 plus 1 is 9. Okay, we're going to come down to this box down here. So the languages you know is common, which is basically human for everyone. And you get one language of your choice. Dwarvish, Elvish, Giant, Gnomish, Goblin, Halfling, Orc.
Goblin.
Alright, you are proficient in light armor and simple weapons. Simple weapons like a quarterstaff, daggers, hand axe.
Stuff you can hold with one hand.
No, there are some stuff you can probably hold with 2 hands, like a great club, but they're basically very simple weapons.
Right.
You get to pick 2 skills.
Ooh, all of them.
You usually get at least 2 skills from your class, and then you get 2 more skills from your background. So the skills, I'm going to currently highlight them for now, just so you know which ones you can pick. Arcana, which is basically knowledge in the arcane. Deception, which is basically like your bluff. History, Intimidation, Investigation, nature, and religion. You get to pick 2 of those.
Let's do deception and investigation.
So, you're proficient in investigation and deception. I don't know if you can see it that well. Deception is based off your charisma.
Right.
So you get +2 from the charisma and +2 because you're proficient in it, which gives you +4.
Ooh.
Investigation is intelligence based. You don't have anything in intelligence, but you get the proficiency bonus, so it's +2.
I understand.
I'm not going to fill in the other skills yet because you're going to pick A, you have your human bonus skill, and B, you're going to get 2 more skills from your background.
Oh, cool. Okay.
With that in mind, let's go ahead and skip ahead to your background.
All right.
So background is basically like literally the character's background. They're,
Right.
what they were before they became level 1. This is kind of your level 0 stuff. Were they an acolyte, like a person that was working at a person that started out at a temple? Were they a charlatan, a con artist? Were they a criminal, an entertainer, a folk hero, a merchant, a hermit, a noble?
Let's go entertainer.
Okay. So as an entertainer, you get acrobatics and performance. You're also proficient with disguises and a musical instrument of your choice.
Musical instrument of my choice.
Yes. You want me to give you some in-game examples?
I'm guessing a launch pad is not one of them.
That's not a musical instrument. Bagpipes, drums, dulcimer, flute, lute, lyre, horn, pan flute, shawm.
Lute.
And as part of your equipment, you get a lute. You're proficient in those 2. Now, of this list that has not been picked, you get 1 more because you're human. And if you need me to elaborate on something, let me know. Actually, I'm just going to go over it real quick. Animal handling is animal handling, how you're using animals. Arcana, knowledge in the arcane. Athletics is like jumping, like doing sports stuff. History is knowledge of history. Insight, that's like sensing someone's motive. Intimidation, the ability to intimidate. Medicine is like first aid. Nature is biology, geography, geology kind of stuff. Perception is like your spot and listen. Persuasion is like your diplomacy or your bluffing. Religion is like is knowledge in religion. Sleight of hand is kind of your pickpocketing or lockpicking. Stealth is sneaking, hide and move silently. And then survival is just basically survival skills in the wilderness.
Persuasion.
Okay. So you're proficient in those skills, so it's basically taking your ability modifier and adding +2. So for the acrobatics, you'd be at +4. Performance would also be at +4. Persuasion is also at +4. And then everything else, you just add your ability modifier. So even though you're not proficient in it, you still get something, potentially. So you could still do some of these skills, you just don't get as high a bonus for them. Right. And then coming down here, you see this passive perception or passive wisdom perception. That is going to be your perception plus 10. Basically, what that means is if I'm trying to, as a DM, trying to sneak past you, or try to have something go past you, if I roll below 11, you actually might notice it.
Might.
Because it's basically like you're busy doing something else, and you just happen to notice something out of the corner of your eye, kind of deal. You're not actively looking for something; it's just something that you might perceive.
Right.
Okay.
I understand. I got you. I get this.
Okay. So, as an entertainer, and you don't have to do this every time you make a character, but it's helpful for making background. Personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. The book actually has pre-made ones for you that you can pick and choose from. Or as you get more comfortable in the game or more set in your character design, you can kind of mix and match or just kind of create your own. So as an entertainer, I'm going to list off some things. Personality traits. Okay? I know a story relevant to almost every situation. Whenever I come to a new place, I collect local rumors and spread gossip.
Okay.
I'm a hopeless romantic, always searching for that special someone. Nobody stays angry at me or around me for long since I can diffuse any amount of tension. I love a good insult, even one directed at me. I get bitter if I'm not the center of attention. I'll settle for nothing less than perfection. I change my mood or my mind as quickly as I change a key in a song.
Okay, we're going to go with, I know a story relevant to any situation, and no one stays angry at me for long.
Just for now, I'm just going to do this. These next three, ideals, bonds, and flaws, you only need to pick one. When I perform, I make the world better than it was. The stories, legends, and songs of the past must never be forgotten, for they teach us who we are. The world is in need of new ideas and bold action. I'm only in it for the money and fame. I like seeing the smiles on people's faces when I perform. That's all that matters. Art should reflect the soul. It should come from within and reveal who we really are.
I'm in it for the smile.
I like seeing the smiles on people's faces.
Yep.
On the character sheet, I'm just putting down numbers. I'm not going to type it all out. I'll fill it in later. And what I'm going to do is, once I fill this all out, I'll save it and then email it to you. Your bond. My instrument is my most treasured possession, and it reminds me of someone I love. Someone stole my precious instrument, and someday I'll get it back. I want to be famous, whatever it takes. I idolize a hero of the old tales and measure my deeds against that person. I will do anything to prove myself superior to my hated rival. I would do anything for the other members of my old troupe.
Gonna be famous no matter what.
Alright, your flaw. I'll do anything to win fame and renown. I'm a sucker for a pretty face. A scandal prevents me from ever going home again. That kind of trouble seems to follow me around. I once satirized a noble who still wants my head. It was a mistake that I will likely repeat. I have trouble keeping my true feelings hidden. My sharp tongue lands me in trouble. Despite my best efforts, I am unreliable to my friends.
I have trouble keeping my true feelings hidden.
Also being an entertainer, you have 15 gold. Okay. Human feet. We'll save that for later. Background feet. Popular by demand. By popular demand. And I'll type this up more in detail. Basically, you can always, popular by popular demand. You can always find a place to perform, usually in an inn or tavern, but possibly with a circus, at a theater, or even a noble's court. At such a place, you receive free lodging and food of a modest or comfortable standard, depending on the quality of the establishment, as long as you perform each night. In addition, your performance makes you something of a local figure. When strangers recognize you in a town where you have performed, they typically take a liking to you.
I'm liking this.
Also, you're an entertainer. What is your entertainment style?
Do I have choices?
Yes, I just gotta type stuff.
Oh, okay.
Are you an actor, a dancer, a fire eater, a jester, a juggler, musician, poet, singer, storyteller, tumbler?
Actor. I'm an actor.
Okay. So that would rely on your performance, which you actually are proficient in, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it for background. All right. We said the human feat will come later. Warlock features. So you get to pick your patron.
Okay.
You have a choice. The Archfey, which is basically like someone from the Feywild. Basically a very powerful fairy. Like,
Gotcha.
I don't know if you're familiar with fairy lore, but like Titania, Oberon, and so forth. That's the Archfey. Or you could pick the Fiend. Basically, you make the pact with a devil or a demon. And finally, the Great Old One. The Great Old One being like Cthulhu mythos.
Let's go Fiend.
Okay. Pact magic is just basically your style of magic as opposed to arcane or divine. It's pact, which is very similar to arcane. The downside of a warlock is they don't get to cast that many spells per day.
Oh, no.
At level 1, you know 2 cantrips. Cantrips are basically 0 level spells, but you can cast them as many times as you want. It's unlimited. Anything that's level 1 or beyond, you have limits. Right now, you're limited to level 1 spells. You only know 2 of them, and you can only cast 1 spell a day. No, correction. 1 spell per rest. So here's the thing. In the game, there's a thing called short rest, which is like an hour, like just kind of relaxing, and a long rest, which is 8 hours of resting, like sleeping.
Yeah.
House rules can change the short rest to be less than an hour. It could be half an hour. It could be 5 minutes. It could be 10 minutes, whatever. It's house rules. And it's also circumstantial. All the magic users, in order to get their spells back that they've spent, they have to go through a long rest, except the Warlock. To get all the spells that they've used so far, they just need a short rest.
Ah, okay.
You have less spells, but you recharge faster.
Right. That makes sense.
All the other casters have more spells, but they don't get to recharge as quickly.
Right, because the power's coming directly from them, whereas, yeah, that makes sense.
This is going to be a little bit tricky because you don't have a book,
Right.
and the spells require a book to look through the list of spells and to really get to know them and understand them. I'm letting this all happen because it's showing you the character creation process, which we've done for the most part.
Right, and so when we do it for real, I'll have a better idea and can actually plan out a better character.
Correct, because usually if you're doing it for the first time, just to really get the full character creation experience, any class is fine. But usually, like the fighter, which is one of the simplistic ones, or any non-spell using class, is the easiest one to really run through because you have less to worry about. As you become more experienced or more used to the rules in the game, then yeah, you can actually knock yourself out. Monk is actually one of the more complex classes in the game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because when you start the character at level 1, it's actually easy to learn everything as you go. If you start your character at like a higher level, that means you have to learn all this other stuff that you're supposed to know. So on the third page, where it's basically the spell sheet.
Yeah. Oh, there's 3 pages. I didn't have access to 3 pages.
There's multiple pages. It's 3 pages. The first page is all the stats. The second page is character background. And then the third page is spells. Since not every class has spells, that's why it's the third page.
Gotcha.
So, and like I said, I'll send this all to you. So just so you know, like if you're ever going to do a spellcaster, you need the third page.
Right.
So if you look here, spellcasting ability, for you, it's based off charisma.
Gotcha.
Spell save DC. That is going to be 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier. So that's 12. What does that mean? That means anytime you cast a spell that has a save, doesn't matter what ability score it is, because the spell will tell you which ability score to use, that person must now roll a 12 or higher to beat it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Let's say if you knew Fireball, you cast Fireball, so basically I have to roll a d20 and add my dex saving throw, and if I get a 12 or higher, I take half damage. If I get if I get 11 or less, I take the full damage. That's spell save DC.
I'm getting the hang of this.
Spell attack bonus is going to be your proficiency bonus plus your spellcasting ability. Spellcasting ability is charisma, so that's +2. Your proficiency bonus is +2, so that makes it +4. What that means is this. Certain spells you attack like you would a weapon. With a melee weapon, you would roll your d20. If you were proficient in it, you add your proficiency bonus, and it's a melee weapon, so you add your strength bonus. If it was a ranged weapon, same thing. You roll your d20, you add your dex bonus, and if you're proficient with it, you add your proficiency bonus. Same thing with certain spells. Instead of having a spell save DC, it's a spell attack. So you're proficient with your spells, so you automatically get that, and then you have your spellcasting ability, which would be +2. There's a spell you have called Eldritch Blast. That's basically shooting a bolt of energy from your hand and trying to hit someone with it. You would roll your d20, add 4, and see if that hits.
Gotcha.
At level 1, that's pretty much it. Warlocks, as they get to level 2 and level 3, that's when they get much more fun. Because the one thing about 5th edition, what they did, is you know how in 3rd edition you had your classes and your prestige classes?
Yeah.
They kind of blended it all together. So you have your class, and then around level 3, you pick a path, which is like a prestige class. You still do your class, but you get additional bonuses.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
So with the Warlocks, they have 3 different paths they can pick from. Pact of the Chain, which means you get a familiar, like an imp or a pseudo-dragon or a sprite, that basically is your servant or your pet.
Right.
There's Pact of the Tome, which basically means you get a few extra spells to play with. And then Pact of the Blade. This is usually the popular one. Out of pure energy, you make a weapon. And that weapon takes the form of whatever you so choose. You could even change that weapon in mid-combat, and you'll always be proficient with that weapon.
Well, I guess I have to go with that one, don't I?
The way your stats are lined up, it would be favorable to do a Pact of the Blade.
Yeah.
That being said, though, it can't be like you can't make a bow and arrow. It has to be some kind of melee weapon. The reason being is you actually have a spell called Eldritch Blast. That's a cantrip. That's basically your ranged weapon. Also, later on, you get these things called invocations as a warlock. They're basically feats. There's an invocation called Devil's Sight. It gives you dark vision up to 120 feet. So basically, you can see in the dark up to 120 feet away, which is
Nice.
great because as a human, you actually don't start with anything.
Right.
Another is Agonizing Blast. You add your Charisma modifier to the damage dealt when you use Eldritch Blast. Or even Life Drinker. You have to be a Pact of the Blade for this, but whenever you hit a creature with your pact weapon, the creature takes additional damage equal to your Charisma modifier. So in this case, it'd be +2.
Right.
Another invocation is Eyes of the Runekeeper. You can read all writing.
I'm a fan of that.
Eldritch Sight. You can detect magic at will without expending a spell slot.
Oh, cool.
There's an invocation for warlocks. So yeah, there's a number of invocations that you get. Oh, I forgot this. Your first gift from your whenever you gain temporary hit points, whenever you get hit, you deduct from that first, and then you deduct from your actual hit points.
Gotcha.
But when you get healed, only your hit points come back, not your temporary hit points.
Right.
So they're basically bonus points. What Dark One's Blessing means, anytime you kill something, you gain temporary hit points. In this case, it's Charisma modifier plus your Warlock level. So in this case, every time you kill something, you get 3 temporary hit points.
Cool.
As you level up, that bonus increases.
Right.
Even though you get limited spells, like at level 1 you know 2 spells, your patron doesn't leave you with nothing. You actually get bonus spells. You actually would know 4 spells. 2 that you pick and 2 that are given to you. So in this case, as a fiend, you get Burning Hands and Command. Burning Hands, basically, you create this arc of fire in front of you 15 feet away.
Cool.
We would pick spells, but I don't know how we would be able to do that without you able.
Right.
But that's pretty much making a character in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. We'd still have to equip your character.
Okay.
Oh, alignment. You never picked your alignment.
Mind giving me a list?
Lawful good, neutral good, chaotic good, lawful neutral, true neutral,
Oh, okay. I
neutral
gotcha.
evil, lawful evil, neutral evil, chaotic evil.
Let's go chaotic good.
Yeah, but pretty much it's just equipment. Actually, we can do equipment now. Alright, do you want a light crossbow or a simple weapon? Let me see if we can find the simple weapons.
A light crossbow means small crossbow, right?
No, it's
It's not a crossbow of light, is it?
no, it's a crossbow. It's just not a heavy duty one.
Okay.
Here we go. So the simple weapons are here, or you get a light crossbow. So you can pick one of these or this.
Simple melee.
Okay, pick one.
Javelin.
You sure?
Maybe.
Javelin is just a thrown weapon.
Right.
If you want to actually use it to fight with someone with.
It can be used as both, right?
Traditionally, a javelin is used for ranged and not for melee.
Right.
But you can use it for a melee.
Yeah, let's go javelin.
Okay. Okay, so you have a javelin. You get 2 daggers. You get another simple weapon of your choice.
Let's go dagger.
So you want 3 daggers?
Yes.
It says you get leather armor.
Oh, cool.
So leather armor is going to be 11 plus your dex mod for your armor class. And dex mod is +2 plus 11, that's 13. You're also going to get an arcane focus for casting spells. And then I don't know if it's going to pull this up. Let's see. Alright, pick one. Scholar's Pack or Dungeoneer's Pack?
Dungeoneers.
Yeah, short of basically picking your spells, you're done.
Oh, cool.
Um, Sometimes the hardest part is making a character's name, which you can figure out if you want.
Miguel.
Like that.
Yes.
Okay, so we've actually been at this for quite some time now.
Hmm.
About,
You're gonna have editing to do.
eh, it's not that. It's not compared to the AMVs I make. This is nothing.
Okay.
Actually, just compared to AMVs in general, this is nothing because this is just basically editing out dead time. That's it.
By the way, it actually worked out better than I thought it would. You've seen Road to El Dorado, right?
No.
You've never seen that? So you
Mm.
don't get the reference. Oh God. Okay.
I mean, you're talking about like Miguel and Tulio, right?
Yeah, and they fake being gods in the movie.
Yeah.
My whole inspiration behind the character was, what if he found the spell book?
Okay.
So he gets to actually have powers and pretty much everything about him fit. So I was really happy with how it turned out.
Okay. So that is it basically for character creation. I hope you learned and enjoyed it.
No, I did. Definitely. Next time we do this, I will actually be able to plan out a character.
So we've
So this
gone.
was really cool. I actually understand it a lot better than I did the first time I did it.
Oh, that's good.
So thank you.
Fifth edition is a much more simplistic. I liked what they did with it. They made it a lot more user friendly.
Right.
I think for recording purposes, I'm going to go ahead and stop it and
Good
end
plan.
it.